Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. This is for August 15th. Thank you so much, first of all, for all of the support of this channel. Thank you so much for the donors. Amazing. I'm humbled every single time. Thank you so much. For the new subscribers, welcome to Soulprint. I hope you enjoy the Soulprint community. And for my established subscribers and viewers, well, I just simply adore you. All right, let's take a look because I want to take a look probably from the title, figured it out, on what's going to go on between Judge Shutkin, I hope I'm saying that right, Shutkin, maybe, and Trump. Because I get a feeling he's not going to like it. All right. One other thing I just want to mention briefly, if you've been watching me for a while, you probably remember me saying this. So there's a lot of us readers and psychics, tarot card readers, etc., who have all kind of consistently predicted that it was going to be a woman who brings Trump down. And a long time ago, I determined from what I could tell that it wasn't going to be a woman. It was going to be women that bring him down. So far you have two female judges, one of whom, we try not to talk about because it gets everybody's blood pressure up. But female nonetheless. We have female prosecutors. We have, I'm sure, female staff who have interesting things to say. It's going to be that feminine energy that sort of brings him to his knees. And, this is like, I don't know, somebody who just doesn't get the rules of karma. His contempt, his hatred, his disregard for women is so apparent. Now, never mind the level that is added when you are talking about, brown women and black women. So this is kind of the thing, right? I don't think it is a woman. I think it's like a lineup of them. And I think they're in the legal system. I think that they were in the White House. I think that there may be people who were not in the White House, but who played a role. Someone named Ginny comes to mind, but I didn't say. This is going to be ultimately what brings it in, not a single woman. Here we go. We're going to look at the dynamic and any additional information we can get pertaining to how Trump and Judge Shutkin get along. Here we go. Judge versus Trump, judge versus Trump, judge versus. This, of course, has to do with the January 6th indictments. All right, that's enough. Eight of Cups. This is an energy and a time that Trump is truly going to be like desperate to figure out how to get out of all the trouble he's in. The problem is that there isn't a way. This is a federal criminal indictment. This is not a state indictment. He can't, like I suppose, like the ones in New York, I'm not sure to what degree. You can get in civil ones by paying for it. That's something that he's done in the past. He thinks that always just get a jail card. Can't do this in this case. His disregard for the law, his recklessness when it comes to the things that come spewing out of his mouth, are going to be what continues to get him into trouble. This is why I was making faces. Wheel of Fortune, Death, Tower, Sun. So what you have here is that whatever good luck or good fortune he was able to ride on, that's not going to work for him in this situation. He is dealing with a smart judge who reads him and people very, very well. Her brilliance was on display last week when, first of all, she wouldn't let the defense drag out this hearing until, July or something. But more, she knows and understands the two places that are going to cause the most destruction when it comes to getting him to comply. One is timing. Her threat, and I don't believe it was a threat. I actually think it was quite the promise, of moving the trial date up sooner and sooner and sooner so that he does not, take jury pool, lawyers, prosecutors, judges, the criminal justice system. That was smart. And of course, money. So for the initial time being, I think what you're going to see are monetary penalties. But I think that it's not going to take long before she starts talking really seriously about moving that date up, because he is literally jeopardizing his own chance at a fair trial. That is what's so crazy. And he just doesn't get it. So she has all the light. He has a lower consciousness, a lower vibration. He is floundering around in the dark. So there's some things that you can anticipate. In the initial hearing, and that judge, and I can't remember her name, but she made a point of calling him Mr. Trump, as opposed to President Trump or former President Trump or whatever. And there was reporting that said Trump was furious. He was so upset and so annoyed that she dared to not refer to him as President Trump. Well, I got news for him. And I believe I've said this before, not only is that title not going to be allowed to be used in the courtroom, she is going to make sure it isn't. And it's going to be by saying you cannot keep referring to him as President Trump. We only have one president in this country at a time, and you are not him. Please refer to him as Mr. Trump. And off goes Trump, yelling and screaming. That's okay. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's this week that his defense attorneys have to present their timeline for a trial that they want. So we all know that that's going to be like I said, July of next year sort of thing, or not even. It's going to be, sorry, I have my years mixed up. It's going to be after the election. that little sweetheart deal is not going to fly. She is going to find a compromise date. Like, I don't think she's going to go with January 2nd. I don't think she's going to go with after the election. But it does feel, I've said this earlier, it does feel like January is when things are going to start moving. I don't know. I can't see Trump's schedule in my head right now, but he's got a lot of stuff going on in January. Don't be surprised if it's sort of the end of January that this trial starts. She is not going to allow this thing to delay, because the more he talks, the more she is going to work very hard to maintain balance. And in doing so, she actually is going to be benefiting the prosecution. And it's not her intention. It's simply what will happen as a result of his bad behavior. All right. The Hermit. Make no mistake, she would have loved not to have drawn, the short straw on this, okay? But she got it. And she's very centered and very clear on how her courtroom runs, what she will tolerate and what she will not tolerate. She is not going to tolerate anything more or less in this courtroom, in this court case, than she would any other defendant. All right? And this is the reality. He is going to keep saying things, because he's stupid, that keep incriminating him. He's going to keep talking and saying stuff and threatening stuff and, carrying on. It's not going to get him anywhere. He already has other members of the GOP saying, we favor an early trial in this situation. You have those 2 lawyers from the Federalist Society who said he actually can't run. Like, never mind, he is not entitled to legally run in the next election. So the energy is shifting away from him. Those allies that he was positive was just going to lead him to victory are not there so much. He's not going to be happy with the dates. He's not going to be happy with the rules. He's not going to be happy. I don't think she's going to do a full-on gag order, but she is going to continue to implement things that he cannot say, and places he cannot say them, and ways he cannot say them. But that isn't going to be her biggest piece of leverage, okay? He is on the defense. He doesn't know how to be anything other than on the defense. There's going to be a lot of fighting and a lot of bickering. I mean, even that last judge who did his last defense lawyer who did the, TV circuit announcing to everybody that it was an aspirational act or whatever. There's infighting within the lawyers. Even that lawyer has said he does not want to see this judge recused. That's not what he's aiming for. Trump, on the other hand, is screaming from the rafters, it's not going to happen. It ultimately is not going to work in his favor. He is going to be found guilty. I don't know if it's on 1, 4, or however many in between charges, but there's definitely a guilty verdict or verdicts coming down for him. His time of living backwards and doing the things he does is coming to an end. Because, listen, not only is karma here, but so is justice. So is putting a stop to this. We have the Queen of Swords here. I'm assuming this is Judge Chutkan. Pretty sure. And make no mistake, she's studying this. She's not skating on this one. She is doing her homework. And a lot of her homework has to do with understanding Trump's previous strategies in legal cases. And that's where she's going to have a problem. Make no mistake. The prosecution, the government of the United States versus Trump, is going to win. It's just that simple. It's going to win. He is going to continue to lose donors. There's going to be something going on around paperwork. Perhaps this might have something to do with the tax, the way money was transferred or used. But supporters, the people who keep him floating, the big ones, they're not supporting him, or they're not putting in any significant amount of money at this point. And of course, those poor people who can barely afford $50 a week, they're the ones who are going to keep sending him money. Four of Swords. I continue to say there's something going on with his health. I don't know specifically what it is, but what you're going to see over the course of this trial, particularly if it starts early, way earlier than he wants or expects, is that you are going to actually be able to see the mental and physical deterioration on him day by day as he enters and leaves court. I also believe there's going to be cameras in the courtroom, but for right now, you're going to literally be witnessing that deterioration. He has no which way to go. He's completely out of options. And he finally, this is the thing, right? All through his life, right? He played the delay game, and he threatened people, and he did all kinds of stuff. And while it was known, I think that by and large, it was either just sort of known, acknowledged, and then kind of disregarded maybe. But now he's got judges that are not going to disregard the stunts he pulls when he's in a legal situation. And he's going to be blocked. Again, two things: money, time. He's going to keep talking. He's going to keep talking. He's going to bring his own end. He's going to be defensive and can't understand. There's way more stuff coming out. We've got big secrets coming out. We have the government winning, okay? The government will hold. The rule of law is going to hold. Energetically, what I can tell you is this judge has literally a back of steel. He is incredibly fair. And anybody who accuses her of not being fair or being bipartisan is just out to lunch. She is incredibly fair, but she is rigid in some of her beliefs in terms of appropriate behavior inside her court. And the kind of theatrics and shenanigans are not going to be well received, and they're not going to be tolerated. Meanwhile, Trump is going to continue to have some significant problem with lawyers because he won't listen to them. He's damaging their reputations. And ultimately, they fear they could get into really big trouble with the courts. So even though it's one of the things that Trump really hates, he is likely going to have to comply with his lawyers, because if he doesn't, he's going to keep losing them. And he's already at the bottom of the barrel, for goodness sakes. Now, I don't know why they're showing me this, and I'm not seeing faces, but it looks like the jury is going to be fairly evenly split between the sexes, but it feels like where there is going to be more one than the other, it is women. There's going to be female jurors more than male, but it's balanced. And there is going to be a broad range of races represented. And that in and of itself is going to be enough to send Trump right around the bend. How dare these people who aren't equal to me sit in judgment? Okay? It's going to be the trial, all right? All the other ones are important. They're going to go forward. Georgia is going to be a really big pain in his butt. And I keep saying it was last week, but it wasn't last week. So I don't know where we're at. Where we're at right now is she's got about 2.5 weeks before the end of August, which was sort of the target date. But again, it feels like it's inching closer and closer. So Georgia, right, is in play. And there's civil suits, and there's, all kinds of stuff coming out. So he's got one coming up in January about scamming people out of some sort of fancy phone system that, had a camera so you could see the other person and talk to them. But it was just a big scam. And I mean, for goodness sakes, all of our phones do that, right? So he's got all kinds of stuff coming up that we don't even know about. It's not going to be pleasant for him. There's really a feeling of almost him getting his comeuppance. But this case is going to stand alone in its importance, in what it accomplishments, and in the standards that are set. And that, in its own way, is going to present him with an obstacle that he cannot overcome. Her courtroom, insurmountable situation. He's just not going to be able to get over it. You can't fix this one. You can't yell and scream, and you can't threaten. And that's what we know. Thank you so very much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. There'll be a couple of minis coming out this week, and Pendulum Friday will be happening this Friday. And again, questions, please put them in the comment section for the pendulum. And other than that, take care, be well, and I'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.